If you're worried about data going missing inside your Google Drive, there is a simple solution to lock it down so no one can download, make a copy, or even print files that are sitting in your drive. Let's have a look at how to get that done. So I'm going to open my Google Drive, and there's two main important areas of Google Drive that you should know about. You have your My Drive, and then we have shared drives. Now, My Drive, think about that like your My Documents, where all your stuff goes, where you want to save documents as you're working on them that pretty much only you have access to. Sometimes people will set up a shared folder inside their My Drive, but that's not a good way of sharing things because there may be files in a shared folder that somebody else owns, and that means you can't control them. Google saw this was an issue, and they created this feature called shared drives. And shared drives are like a company drive. If you've ever worked in corporate, you would have had a server and you would have had an S drive or an I drive or a G drive. Well, that's what shared drives are. And so we can designate different shared drives. And those shared drives are where you have corporate control over the files that go into those shared drives. So if, for example, I say I want someone to be able to place files inside a drive, but not delete or remove anything from a drive, well, I could give them the contributor access level, and that will let them add and edit files, place them into the drive, but not delete them. And what that looks like when you add a file into your shared drive is you'll choose the shared drive you want to share it to, you drag and drop a file in, and it's going to pop up and it's going to say, do you want to make somebody else the owner of this file? They are going to gain access. Effectively, you are no longer the owner. So if you say yes, that's going to put it in there. Okay, so when you set up your shared drives, our recommendation is that you use group-based permissions. We have a number of videos on our channel which teach you how to set up group-based permissions and apply them to shared drives. I won't cover that in this one. But once you've got that set up, let me show you an example here of my team training drive. You can set different levels of access to the different groups of people inside your business. So you'll see the IT admins team is the manager of the drive. They've got full permission. We then have a number of groups who are able to contribute. And then content managers are people who can not only add and edit files, but they can also delete files as well. So that's how you set up the different tiers of permissions for different groups of people within your business. But there is actually a hidden settings menu that not many people know about. If you right-click on a shared drive, you can go to Shared Drive Settings. And inside Shared Drive Settings, there's a couple of advanced features that you can use to change access to each of the files inside the shared drive. Now, you'll see here, the first tick box is to allow people outside itGenius to access files. If I untick that, it's going to stop anyone who doesn't have an itgenius.com domain name to access any of the files within this account. I really love that. Number two, allow people who aren't shared drive members to access files. Now, this is a little bit different. This allows you to add some people who are outside your company to the shared drive, but maybe you say anyone who is not explicitly shared at the top level of the shared drive via that sharing menu I just showed you, is not able to access individual files. See, how this works is at the top level, we have our members defined on who can access the drive. But by default, I can open up the drive and I can find an individual file. And with that individual file, I can still use the share menu to share access to that file to people on an individual basis. Now, what that setting is that I showed you to allow people who aren't shared drive members is to effectively restrict the manual and individual sharing of files outside of whoever has access to the top level of the shared drive. That's really useful for your accounting folder where all your financials are kept. It's really useful if you want to lock things down and make sure that no one accidentally shares files outside of the business or accidentally on purpose, right? Now, individual permissions, these are pretty cool as well. Allow content managers to share folders. This is an individual permission, and it basically says if you've given someone the content management permission, do you want to let them share a whole folder at a time? Maybe you want to share a collection of documents in one folder, but here you have the final setting, which is, and if you untick this, it restricts someone's ability to download, print, and copy files. Now, if someone is an editor or they have a higher level permission, they can do those things. But this is, for example, if you have a training folder and you want to share access to a bunch of contractors who are outside your business. Well, you could add a group called contractors, or you can add people individually. And with that group, you may choose that you only want those people to be viewers. Now, if I was to share this with those people as viewers, as they logged in and they actually checked access to their files, they don't have the option to print, download, or make a copy. Now, is that foolproof? Well, not necessarily. It doesn't stop someone from recording their screen, taking a screenshot, or finding some other means of copying that file. But it does at least slow them down. If someone's going to try and rip off your business and steal every single bit of your IP, if they really, really want to, they're probably going to find a way, right? Someone can always just hold their phone up to their computer screen and take a photo of something. Anyway, I'll leave that with you. That's how you lock down Google shared drives, and that's how you restrict people from getting access to your data. Love that feature. If you need more help with what we've covered in this video, itGenius provides support services to businesses all over the world with problems just like this. Click the link below to get started.